Sanibonani emphakathini ngibingelela no president wethu Matamela Ramaphosa nethimba lonke igama lami ngukidiboni wakandlovu ohlala eWard 81 nginenkinga ke Mr President ngifundisile umntwana ngiyisingle parent nginganamyeni ukuthi azafike ku university aqede izifundo zakhe njengommeli kodwa namhlanje akho umsebenzi ku justice system yethu angiyiboni isebenzela ngize kuyi service yethu ye police station la itsakane is very poor la i-justice yethu ngifuna ukukutshela president namhlanje ngaboshwa ngiboshela into engayazi la ama-CID angilalisa ubusuku bonke ngumama bazongilanda ngo-12 ngathi ngisigebengu namhlanje ke solve icase yakhona iservice yala very poor ngoba isigebengu siyafika sitshontshe ufike ukhulume bese siba pinpointer so ngicela nilungise na ipolice station esimoshelayo amaphoyisa angasi right athathi tshontsho lamaphoyisa ngumama ngiyolala emaseyilini ngivuke ngakusasa ngingakumntanami wakhetha ukuthi abe yigqwetha kodwa namhlanje akakasebenzi nginenkinga namakhansela wethu amakhansela very corrupt amakhansela wethu thina mina ngise-Ward 81 angina nestrati nesi-1 setha road kunemigodi makufuneka ukuthi sihambe singabantu besifazane kuyinyanga yabantu besifazane fanele umuntu angikhaphe eqala ukuze angifike stop sign igesi yethu babu mkhupha igesi yethu baba uRamaphosa nginenkinga ngoba mangithenga igesi njoba ngiyisil mother ngizisebenzela kamlungu ngithola igesi mangithenga i-50 ayipheli neviki thatha 2 days sikhathele ama-high rates we-electricity siyacela akwehle nalama units free units siyawacela abuye ku-100 abe 100
Siyabonga kakhulu ma.
Greetings everyone. I hope you are fine. I hope you are doing well. I just want to say the reason I'm doing this is because it's very important to listen to what the community is saying. I always say I don't want to believe that ANC hosted this imbizo because they were campaigning. But I have an instinct that they are just campaigning. That is why I'm like, we need people who can always make follow-ups. I just want to address some of the things or to talk about some of the things that our mother had to say, that our mother touched on. The first thing she spoke about is unemployment. She sacrificed everything as a single parent to get her son educated or to get her son to a university where he ended up graduating as a lawyer. But until now, he's still unemployed. There are many parents all over South Africa, single parents or maybe both parents, a father and a mother, even grandmothers and grandfathers who sacrificed a lot for their children to go and study in various universities. It can be University of Pretoria, it can be Wits University, Vaal University, University of Free State, University of KwaZulu-Natal. They sacrificed a lot to take their children to those universities with an expectation that when they come back, they will do something for them, or they will do something for themselves. In other words, these children will do something for themselves or to empower themselves. But right now, what we see in our communities, we see many people who graduated maybe as an accountant, as a lawyer, as an engineer, and they are not working. They are not working at all. They are not working. And some people might say, when you go to university, you have to make sure that you study a course that will give you a job. And some of these people will end up saying you have to go for engineering. We have many people who studied chemical engineering, civil engineering, and many other courses, accountancy, IT, and other qualifications, but they are still not working. In other words, South Africa has the problem of unemployment, and it seems as if they are not trying to do anything to address this issue. This issue cannot be addressed until they try by all means to deal with the root of the problem. So we need to talk about these things, not because we are trying to attack government. Yes, I always attack government because I don't think the government is doing enough to help South Africans to get employed. Just imagine you studied maybe for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, then with an expectation that you'll get a job, but you end up being on the list of unemployed people, or being on a database of unemployed people. This is very, very painful. So I think now the government has to do something, because they have to industrialize. Because without industrialization, there's no way you can create jobs. But right now, instead of like creating jobs, we see many companies right now retrenching as well, and many companies are not even complying. They hire people who are not documented. As a result, they rob the South Africans, they rob the South African government, they rob SARS, they rob Labor Department, they rob everybody else. And again, we have small businesses, spaza shops that are not employing our people. Whenever they employ, they don't care. You only earn like maybe 200 rands a week. Just imagine. So we have all these problems, and I think the government has to deal with all these problems. And another thing she spoke about is the corruption when it comes to police. When something happens when something happens around me, and I have to go to the police, for me to be honest, it's not even easy for me to get up and go to the police or police station to report something whenever something happens. So where I live, they broke in maybe 4 times. They broke in 4 times. The 4th time when they broke in, it was on Monday. It was on Monday around 2 a.m. But I had to go to the police station just to for some other things that I had to cover. But this is disappointing, or this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing because these people cannot be trusted. Because if you cannot trust the police, if you cannot trust the justice system, then it means it's a problem. It's a problem. So many people are complaining about the police taking bribe, many officials taking bribes, and so forth and so forth. This is a problem. So I think the government has to do something. The government has to do something, but I don't see them doing doing anything because I don't see any progress at all. I don't even know what to say because the politics are a stumbling block. Motivational speakers might say we have to get up and do everything by ourselves. But in most cases, we have to understand sometimes we may try by all means to get up and work hard and try by all means to do everything as much as you can. But at the end of the day, you might find it difficult. You might find it difficult because every time you have to come across all these people who are unprofessional, all these people who are not doing their job accordingly. Because at the end of the day, you always have to deal with the politics. You have to deal with the politics. So that is why everything is politics. Even if people don't like talking about politics, but everything is politics. When you see prices going up in different stores, in retail, petrol prices going up, you have to know that everything is, these things are, it's just politics. It's just politics. Even in church, everywhere, it's politics these days. In business, it's politics. Why? It's because if you are an investor, you cannot invest in the area where there's high unemployment. Who's going to support your store? Who's going to support your initiative? So that is why everything is going through politics, and you cannot invest in the area where there's a high rate of crime, where the police are not doing their job. You cannot invest in the area where the majority of people are poor, because no one will be able to support your initiative. That's the thing. And the other thing that I just want to talk about that she touched on is electricity. Electricity. Sometimes you ask yourself, how do these people afford electricity? Because there are people who are not complaining about electricity. There are people who are not complaining about they can complain about other things, but it's rare to find people complaining about electricity. So that is why I decided to address what this mother here spoke about, because I was surprised when she spoke about electricity, because it seems as if people are not complaining about electricity. I'm talking about people that maybe I've come across. The problem of electricity. The electricity in South Africa is very expensive, and I think the government now is taking advantage. The government is taking advantage. They have to come up with a solution, because they know right now they don't have a competitor, because even petrol is not their competitor. Even solar system is not at that level to compete with Eskom, because the reason petrol cannot compete with Eskom using generators is because petrol is more expensive than electricity. But electricity is still expensive. Why? Because if you buy, for an example, if you buy with 300 rands, for an example, you cannot get 300 units. You cannot get 300 units, but instead you'll get, like, for an example, 130 something units. 130 something units. And that 130 something units won't last you for about a month. So I imagine when you are living in poverty, when you are going through a rough time, and you have children to take care of, you have a lot of stuff to deal with. Sometimes you find out that it's even difficult for other people to cook. Even if they have food, it's difficult for them to cook the food that they've bought, because the electricity is expensive. The electricity is expensive. So I think the government has to the government has to do something. The government has to do something, because as long as the prices are going higher, they are also causing a lot of problems. Because right now, the reason we have, like for an example, a problem of retrenchment, a problem of crime, a problem of 1, 2, 3, is because of poverty, is because of unemployment. Everything is expensive. That is why even those who are working, they are also involved in some criminalities, or some forms of criminalities, because they think it's not enough. I'm not promoting illegal stuff here, but the thing is, the government has to do something. I know some people have a tendency of saying we should not rely on government. We should not rely on government. That is why I always say everything is via politics right now as we speak, because we are living in that system whereby this system of politics was forced into Africans. So that is why right now it's not easy to live independent of politics. It's not easy, because when you start your business, then you have a problem of municipality. There's no service delivery. They cut your electricity. They don't do 1, 2, 3. In other words, then your investment begins to turn into a loss. That is why I'm like, everything now these days is via politics. So I said to myself, let me just talk about what our mother here had to say, because I felt her. I felt her.